So tell us about the clearance rates.
Yeah, they've dropped obviously across the countryside. A lot of people have been concerned about the clearance rates, particularly in Sydney and Melbourne. I'm not. I think they should be where they are. The national clearance rates for auctions were 66.6%, so this time last year was 69.8%. But Sydney actually came down to 64.4%. But again, a lot of people are putting their properties on the market at a lot higher prices, and so people are sitting back saying, I'm not prepared to pay that. So I don't know if it's a true impact on the heat coming out of the market yet. I think it might be an impact of the supply and demand issue, with the supply being too high a price. Canberra was good, Adelaide was good. You talk about different markets, 74.6% for Adelaide. So pretty good overall.
Now, Tom was talking before that there's more adverts in the papers. Are you seeing more homes advertised for sale?
Yeah, we had an increase over this time last week, and this has been the pattern for a few weeks, so it was a plus 1.69% increase. But interestingly enough, we're down 1.79% in terms of the amount of stock we have today over this time last year. So it's a crazy figure.
Nice little curve on the graph there.
Oh, yes. It's, I'm not looking at the graph, I'm looking at your head. But I think the graph should be pointing upwards. I can see a reflection. Thanks. You said it, I didn't. Yes, I didn't. Yes, New Zealand also, they've had an increase 6.2% in stock this time over last week. So they've gone through, it was 12.9 last week, so that's a massive increase in stock.
And then rent price movements.
Great to see. Sydney is actually the best performer at 0.58% increase. Melbourne and Brisbane were stagnant for the week. The one I'm really impressed with is Perth. It had a climb of 0.42% because it's been struggling for a while with both its rent and its vacancy. So it looks like it's making a bit of a comeback. So we have a 0.49% increase over this time last week, but we're still negative from the start of the year, 1.2%.
And finally, the vacancy rates as well.
Good, yeah. Sydney 2.31, Melbourne 3.63, steady for a while. Here's a good one. Perth 6.14, was touched over 7 for a while. So with higher rent increases and lower vacancy rates, those three capital cities are coming in at 4.03% vacancy. So that's not too bad at all. Still okay. Perth I was worried about, but it's coming back, so it's good to see.
And 6 weeks left of the market. What's your predictions there?
Oh, I'm working over Christmas. You're talking about the rest of the industry, of course. Well, I can still see Sydney being okay. I don't see clearance rates in the 60s as being bad. If you look at most property coming on the market, Chris, agents, if they can clear 65 to 70% of every property they list for sale, they're doing really, really well. So a clearance rate of 64 or 65 for Sydney isn't bad, but overall across the country, 66.6 I think is reasonable. And it's a solid market, not crazy. I hate crazy.
That's just what you want.
Hate crazy.
Siobhan Hayden, MFAA, thanks for joining us. Charles Tarbey, as always, good to see you. Thanks for joining us as well. Hopefully we'll see you at the Property Bar Expo if you're in Sydney. But if not, we'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Chris Gray. Good night.
The information featured in this program is general in nature and therefore should not be relied upon. Guests appearing on the program may have commercial arrangements with some of the companies mentioned. Before making any investment, insurance or financial planning decisions, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you.